Every day, when I come home from school, my grandmother is always watching TV. This is either CP24 or news about Donald Trump. Flashback to 2016, November 8th, the night of the election. The battle lines have been drawn. Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. In the morning tomorrow, only Hillary's face looked like that. And the question everyone was asking was, why'd they pick this guy? Before I circle back to how blockchain can be used to improve this kind of election, let's just take a quick refresher on it. Blockchain is basically a decentralized, distributed, digital, secure ledger. If you want, you can think of it as an unhackable ledger. What you're looking at right now are two diagrams. The first, which is on your left, is that of a centralized network. The little black dots are called nodes, and they're just people on computers. Now, in this diagram, all of the nodes are connected to one central node, which I've marked with a bullseye. If this bullseye node were to be hacked, the entire network would come down and be completely worthless. This is what most of our current institutions actually run on. Next, the one on your right, this is a decentralized network. As you can see, this has 7 bullseye nodes. So it's harder to hack than the centralized system, but still, it could be hacked. Blockchain runs on a distributed network. If I were to put bullseyes on this system, I would have to do it on over 51% of the nodes, because that's how many you would have to hack for this entire network to come down. So Ethereum is one of the more notable blockchains. This is because it doesn't just have a cryptocurrency, Ether, it also has the Ethereum virtual machine. This enables you to deploy code to the Ethereum blockchain itself. And the code that you deploy actually takes on the properties of the Ethereum blockchain. It's secure and it's decentralized. This code can be anything from 2 plus 3 to an actual app. These apps are known as decentralized applications, or Dapps. Dapps are, as I said, secure and they're decentralized. So this makes them really useful for most things. So they're better than most apps, but only in certain scenarios. Now, a Dapp is actually made up of 3 parts. The first is the front end. This would be the user interface, what the user sees. This user interface then connects to the smart contracts. Smart contracts are self-executed pieces of code that you deploy onto the blockchain, so they're secure and decentralized. These smart contracts finally connect to the blockchain protocol. This protocol could be something like proof of work, for example. So proof of work was actually originally designed for email spamming. We'll use it as an example. And basically what it does is it forces your computer to do this proof of work puzzle. So this takes up a certain amount of resources. Now this was useful for email spamming because if you want to send, say, 1 email to your friend, your computer is going to be perfectly fine. But if you're trying to send 250 emails at the same time to random people, good luck with that. So just circling back, you start with the front end, that's the user interface. This connects to the smart contracts, and then the blockchain protocol just keeps the entire thing safe. So dApps are pretty unique, and you can have them be almost anything. But they all share, well, almost all of them, 4 common features. The first is that they're open source. Most dApp code is open source, so this means that you can look at it and see if there's some sort of a bug or a hack, and you can decide whether or not to use this. The second is that they're all decentralized. They're on the blockchain, and they take on its properties, so they're decentralized. The third is incentivized. We'll use Bitcoin as an example here. Bitcoin is basically a banking dApp on the blockchain, and the incentivized comes in with miners. Basically, whenever a miner mines a new block, they're rewarded with 12.5 Bitcoins. So they're rewarded with tokens in order to keep the blockchain's record going, incentivized. And finally, the protocol. Because dApps are on a blockchain, they have the blockchain's protocol, so they all have a protocol. Now, there are actually 3 types of dApps, as outlined by the Ethereum white paper. The first is financial applications, the second semi-financial applications, and the third non-financial applications, and I'll actually be going into examples of all 3. So the first for a financial application would be gambling. Now, gambling right now online is pretty risky because the code could have a bug in it or someone could hack the game and suddenly all your money is gone. However, with a gambling dApp, it would be completely secure so nobody could hack it, and of course the code would be open source so you could see whether or not there's a bug or a hack. This is actually an example of an existing DApp, and it's called Fizzy. This is a semi-financial application, and it's for flight insurance. Basically, if your flight is 2 hours late or more, and you applied for flight insurance, you can actually get some of your money back. However, in order to do this, you have to file a claim, you have to go through a bunch of administrative processes, and sometimes you don't actually get your money back. However, with this new DApp, Fizzy, basically you input your flight details and all other relevant information, and if your flight is 2 hours late or more, you'll get your money back almost immediately. Finally, voting. A voting DApp would be way better than what we currently have, the 2016 election. The voting DApp would be completely secure, so nobody could hack it. This is actually a video of a voting DApp that I myself made. So basically, you can see the user interface is pretty simple. You've got two candidates, Hillary Trump and Donald Clinton. You can just select one and click vote. Now you've just got MetaMask prompting me to confirm this. This is just for gas, a transaction fee for the miners that make this work. And now you can see Donald Clinton's vote count has increased by 1, and I can't vote again with this. So the voting DApp would be pretty simple. Now, I've been talking to you a lot about dApps and how cool they are, but who's heard of dApps before this? Who's really interested in dApps? Well, the current prevailing narrative is that dApps are dead. This is the total market cap of all crypto in 2018. And as you can see, it's been going down by a lot. However, dApp development has actually been growing. There are over 2,000 total dApps right now. There are over 5,000 smart contracts and over 1.8 million transactions every 24 hours. dApps are growing right now. This is a stage where we're moving from the Web 2.0 to the Web 3.0. From apps like Facebook, like Uber, like Google, to dApps like the Kyber network, like Fizzy. We're moving from processing like Microsoft Azure to things like Ethereum, to EOS, to Tron. We're moving from a centralized age to a decentralized one. Let's try to make this happen before the 2020 elections, or you know who is going to get elected again. Thank you.